Hi guys, I know I haven't posted in a while. I'm not really sure what the last thing I talked about was, but I think it was my lungs. But kind of wanted to post something. But no, it's because just have a lot on my mind, and so far after I got out of the hospital, I've been doing a lot of my writing and reciting poems on videos. And actually, I only expected a couple views, but I really appreciate how many people actually have liked my poems, and I do put a lot of thought and thought into what I write, because I want it to be a bit inspirational but also real, something people can really relate to, but also have respect towards it. And I really like to get out there, because I deal with epilepsy, I really like to get out there the message of that we are human beings and not not human beings. We're not aliens. We're exactly like normal people. And I don't even like to use the word normal, because what is normal? No one is normal, even though they might tell you, or you might think they are. There's much deeper issues in people than looking at them, and a lot of people put on a disguise for others so that they don't look weak, or they don't look like they're breaking or they're gonna fall apart or anything like that, and it's not true. So through my music, I really like to be a role model, I guess. I don't really know the word that I want to be. I just want to be, like I said, give out a message of trying to help both my personal disease, which is very rare and unknown, and epilepsy is quite known, but also it's in me it's two different parts. It's epilepsy, but it's also tuberous sclerosis. So tuberous sclerosis is very rare and not known. And I also wanted to just say that for people who don't know, don't get it, I guess, which is fine. Imagine how it is. I think there might be only at least 3 people in the state of New Hampshire that have my disease. So, and then you don't know the age difference. So, imagine feeling like you are the only person who has a disease in a state, like cancer, heart disease. There's probably a million people in New Hampshire that has cancer, and that's what I think people don't get. That, like, how would you feel if you were the only person in a state that has your disease? That's like going into a school and being like a one color amongst many, You kind of feel like an outcast. And that's how I felt most of my life. I was an outcast in school. I was hated by a lot of I guess you would say popular people, but it wasn't like that. It was more like cliquey, and they had their friends, and I only usually had one friend. But I didn't want to be friends with anybody that were okay with bullying people. You know, most of them, they would go up to somebody and they would go with 3 people to 5 people, and that one person had themselves to defend themselves. So it was basically like a group of people against one, and they thought that was okay, you know? They thought, oh, we're the stronger because we're a pack, you know? And I was like, well, if I'm going to step to someone, I'm going to step to them by myself. Like, that's not strong. Like, stepping with a group isn't strong. It just shows how weak you are. And I don't know, that's just what I experienced in school, and that's how, one, I felt like an outcast my whole life, but also having a disease and not knowing anybody else who has it in my state, or, you know, like, that kind of made me feel like an outcast as well. So I guess that's where insecurities from myself come in, because it's very hard to relate to people. I can relate to a lot of people with epilepsy, definitely, but or mental illnesses. Like, I have had friends that have trauma, anxiety, depression, and, you know, I made good friends with them because of those issues. But epilepsy and tuberous sclerosis is a lot of why I have those mental issues, and that's not something that many people, or like I'm saying, many people in my life can relate to. You know, they don't know anything about it. What I feel like is people on the internet researching it, and then, but also, okay, so they research it and they see stuff, and I'm not going to mention any names or anything because I don't pin something on anybody. I just, like, you can't read something on the internet and be like, that person's exactly that. It's not fair to the person. It's not right. It's something built in a person. Like, if you, okay, so how I feel it goes is, say someone doesn't have an illness, but you don't read online how that person functions, how their emotions go or anything, but you do that on the internet for a person, like, maybe a little bit is true, but, you know, we still have beating hearts. Like, we still have normal emotions like anybody else, and we go through the motions of normal people or anybody else who doesn't have a disease. And although I respect doctors' opinions, I'm not a doctor, I'm not smart, I can't tell you, well, I am smart, but I'm not as smart as a doctor, and I can't tell you everything about how my brain is functioning, and they can, but they also, what a doctor can't tell you is what the human being is feeling on the inside, which is why they ask you when you go to the doctors how you're feeling. They have to ask you, do you have any trauma in your life? Do you have any stressful situations in your life? Because the reason they ask that is because they can see the stress in the, you know, waves or the vibrations, or if you get an EEG, they can tell that. Like, when I went to get my EEG in the hospital, they could tell that, this was kind of funny because I didn't want a bunch of male doctors saying this. It was a little weird. But they said that when I sleep, I get very aroused. And I'm like, oh my God, they can tell I'm having sex dreams. And then I was like, no. I had one once in the hospital, but the rest were all clean. And I was still getting aroused. So I think I have very vivid dreams. They could be called nightmares sometimes, but not really. Like, I don't get scared if people are killing other people in my dreams. Like, or like hurting other people, which I probably should, but I'm not. Like, I watch horror movies, like, and I'm not scared of those. Like, if I was home alone, I'd probably be scared of them, but other than that, no, not really. Like, but so my basic point is just don't put people in a box, or don't think everything you read or hear from a doctor that's emotional or mental feeling or opinion, that comes from the person's mind or the person's heart or the person's feelings. It doesn't come. The doctor can tell you the physical thing, but the person has to really be the one to tell you about the other things, which I believe is probably very stressing me out, because I feel that's how people look at me, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know a lot of people feel that way with epilepsy or tuberous sclerosis, and sometimes we even say the hardest part about having tuberous sclerosis isn't the epilepsy, which people are shocked to hear that, but it's true. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting people to understand who you are as a person, because that's how we feel like we struggle sometimes, is we're more struggling with the basic of, we need to feel respected, we need to feel human, we need to feel strong and supported and encouraged to follow our dreams throughout this disease. We don't want to feel like our disease is oh my gosh, happy birthday. We don't want to feel like our disease is controlling us. We want to, really I don't know if I would use the word tell the disease, but show the disease that it doesn't control us, that we control our lives and it's just a part of us, I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. Talk to you later. So yeah. And another thing is, when I went to my EEG, sleepover EEG for a week, they didn't find anything physical, so they said it was basically psychological, which would make sense. I mean, ever since, it's been 2 months since I've had my lung collapse, but it doesn't mean that you won't deal with trauma from it. It doesn't mean that because I just bury it. I don't want to talk about my lung collapse, really, because it's scary for me. I thought it was gonna, I didn't know what was gonna happen, I didn't know, if my lungs were gonna one of my lungs were gonna completely fail, I was in a situation where I just didn't know, But now it's kind of scared sometimes, because you don't know if it's gonna happen again. You don't know anything in the future that's gonna happen, and it was just so scary and unpredictable that you don't really want to go through it again. So it's haunting you now, and it's kind of like you have to live with it. You have to learn to live without every day it crawling in the back of your mind, or you try to, but it still does. And I don't know, I'm just figuring out a way to not to bury it, but to dim it a little bit, I guess. Finding ways to distract myself is very hard. Distract myself from those thoughts, or figure out how to get rid of the trauma. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for tonight, but Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.